So, Herschel, we love you and we miss you. And I want you to know that in conversation with you in the last month, off and on, and also with Rosalie and others, I'm sure, you have said many times how much you miss your friends. And you wish there was some way to capture the many memories you have. And it takes me a while for things to percolate up, but a few days later it occurred to me that having these friends, some of them at least, because you have many, many friends, gather and make a video, and thanks to Eric Herder and thanks to Rosalie Paul for her hospitality, we are gathered here today. Now, somebody suggested in jest, I think, that we could have what my mother called an organ recital. We could sit here and talk to you about all our aches and pains. And do a little demonstration, probably, of our limitations. But we decided, in our collective wisdom, that we would rather spend the time telling a story or a special memory of you and Selma as well. So I just want to say, Hirsch, that I have such fond memories of your wit, your intelligence, your perspective on this crazy world, and your warm and welcoming heart. Over the years, you and Selma have had so many folks come to your home to stay with you or to celebrate an occasion in your lovely home or your garden. And that is a wonderful memory, but it's something that I know all of us will miss. So this is for you, and I just want to say I love you, and I think this will be fun for all of us.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Hershey, first of all, I want to tell you that your leaving somehow has made me want to speak Yiddish. Honestly, it's the weirdest thing. So I started to think of all these things, like I wanted to tell you, I miss your Shana Punim. And I wanted to, of course, say, Wus magst du to you, Hershey. And it's kind of a joke, but you know, there is something that I've always felt that you were related to me. And of course, coming from a Jewish family, your being, your storytelling, the way you were, just felt like always that you and Selma were my family. So I want you to know I miss you from the bottom of my heart. And let's write to each other in Yiddish, okay? Mwah, I love you.
Hi, Hirsch. I think one of the best times I remember with you was when you and I walked the golf course at the naval base. We had it all to ourselves. We were trying to figure out how to make it work with the parking gardens, and I'm sorry it didn't work. And I know how sorry you must be about that. But anyway, I wanted you to know that that was one of the highlights of my time with you. Just working on the gardens was a highlight. So I wish you well. I'll talk to you in a few days anyway. So I send my love, and I hope you do well. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to speak with you. Some of my favorite memories are sitting in that beautiful, beautiful sunroom of yours. You to my left, sitting in your chair, and just telling stories and listen. You're just so full of stories and fables, as I well know, and as we both know because of the books and so forth. Anyway, and also with Selma in her chair in the corner. And I'm not sure how it worked out, but when we were talking about fixing all the world's problems, the two of us, Selma would be feigning sleep in the corner. and at some point I figured, well, you two must have worked it out so that she wouldn't say anything even when I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. But when you spoke, she would step right in and correct you. So, but the other part of it is, even if she knew I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, she wouldn't speak up. But when I got through not knowing what I was talking about, Hirsch would always make it, or you would always make it sound like I knew what I was talking about. So I miss you, my friend, and rather than solving all the problems in the world at one time, now when we talk on the phone, we can only solve one or two. So I look forward to talking with you again on the phone. I love you, Hirsch.
Hirsch, we miss you, you know that, and we're all thinking of you. Like Dan, I remember best or most recent visiting you in your sunroom, and I loved the way you loved your garden, and especially that magnolia that was right in your sight lines. I hope you have a beautiful window where you are. I hope, well, I don't know if I ever told you, but I so loved that magnolia that you loved that I bought one and I planted it right outside my study window. So it's doing pretty well. I'm sure they do much better in Washington, but I'll send you a picture of it this spring. Miss you, dear. Take care.
Yeah, yeah,
Are you in there, Hirsch?
he's there.
It's funny, I look at this little square thing and I can't see you, but I'm gonna pretend you're right there. So I think you can see me. Name's Rosalie, sometimes called Rosie, yeah. And nowadays, when we walk around the block at night, which you know we used to do, Rafi and I would come in and Selma would be so welcoming of Rafi, and you would kind of go, "That's my sandwich." And you could kind of do without him, but he and I, you know how he did. Every time we would get sort of opposite your house on McCain, he would stop and look over at your house to say, well, are we going to see Hirsch and Selma tonight or aren't we? And some nights we were in a hurry, so we'd walk on, but many nights we stopped and we loved our visits. And now the best we can do is to pretty soon go and turn left on McCain and go and see our friends Bruce and Mary Beth, which will be a joy also. But we do miss you so much. And you know what? I want a game of dictionary.
Oh, yes.
I always lost. You always won.
Oh, remember.
Always won, every single time. What do I want to tell you? Oh, yeah. You know, we're gathering in funds. We call it the Selma Fund. And there are two interesting things. Let's see if I can hold on to both of them. One, the teller at the credit union, when I go to deposit another check, she says, oh, more money for Selma's memory. How wonderful. She's the woman who taught Spanish at your house at Selma's request, and she loved Selma very much. The other was just yesterday, someone came to the house to help me with iTunes, iPhoto, all that kind of stuff. And I was showing her that I wanted to move pictures into the Faces program, and there was a picture of Selma. And the woman, without my saying a word, she said, oh, that's Selma. She said, I always used to read her letters in the paper. So, anyway, more memories, lots of memories. Now somebody else's turn. Rafi says hi.
Hey, Hirsch. It's good to see you, except I can't see you, but you can see me. You've already heard that, I think, a time or two. I must say that the thing I miss most about seeing you is always your wonderful advice about various political things. And of course, you were a huge advisor to me and Mary Beth on our investment package, since you had, so that was very important. But I think the most important story I can tell, you've heard it probably 5 times from me, but I'll say it again, was right before the election of Obama, when a lot of people really didn't know much about him. You were the first one to say, go and look up the Crown family in Chicago. And that really nailed it for me in the very start. So I always trusted your wisdom and always respected it and missed that very much. Yesterday, Mary Beth was correcting some of my grammar, and telling me that she felt obligation to do that since Selma was no longer here. And I said, I think she might be speaking through you actually right now. So you're both still very much around us all the time. So just know that. We love you. See you later.
Hi, Hirsch. This is Jean. I'm talking to you and to Selma because you come as a pair in my mind. I say one name and automatically think of the other. And one of the things I was thinking of recently was the time that Bob and I had given our house over to other people to stay for a week. And then we were going to find another place to stay because, of course, we could do that. And the first persons that spoke up were you and Selma, and you said, well, you stay here. Of course you stay here. Of course you can stay here. And we did for a whole week. That's generosity to me, and I think there are a lot of people here who also have stayed over with Selma and Hirsch because that's what we did when we had no other place. So you were always in my mind when I go to bed at night. Mostly because I had a warm bed there and I have a warm bed at home. Thanks, Hirsch.
Yeah.
This is John, as you well know. You know, we both grew up on a farm. You grew up in Connecticut, and I grew up in Minnesota. I don't know what that means, but we had a lot of conversations about it, and it was fun. Maybe I first got to know Selma better than you, because Selma was the editor of The Progressive for many years, and I wrote sometimes for it, and I came often to your house. But eventually, you and I began to hit it off. And do you know precisely why we hit it off? It puzzles me. But at the same time, of course, on the other hand, you were an entrepreneur in business, and I was an academic entrepreneur. But I think you know what I mean. Part of that, it seems to me, was, as I recall, I was no longer teaching full-time at Bowdoin. But I continued to teach a seminar every other year or something like that. And following up with what Jean said just now struck me, because you took me in because Carla was, I had joined Carla to live in Cambridge for a couple of years, and I needed a place because I had to teach at Bowdoin. I can't remember whether whether it was twice a week or once a week. But anyway, I was invited by both of you to sleep upstairs in your house, and it was a wonderful opportunity to give you some grief and so on, and you gave me the same, I think. But we're pretty equal in terms of understanding the way the world was going. You were a little more radical than I was, but I forgive you for that. I think, however, that do you remember? I think it was in the 2003, 2004, and Nader was wondering whether he was going to run for president again, and we arranged it so that we would have a meeting at your house. You remember that? It was in December 2003, as I recall. I've been writing my memoirs, so I'm looking this up. And Ralph Nader came, and we had quite a house full. In fact, the whole house was absolutely populated. I think, Bruce, you were there.
I was.
Yep. And it was a big issue as to whether he should run or not, or if he did run, would he run independent or would he run green? And my argument was that he may not run, he might consider not running, but at the same time, if he did, he should certainly do it as a green. And doing it as a green also, that meant that he would, I felt that he would be willing to step aside if the if the presidential race was altogether too close for comfort. But he would have none of that. He said, "What are you trying to do? Tell me whether I can run or not?" So we did not part very well at that time. But I must say, your Aunt Selma's amazing graciousness, and of course eager to have you at their home. I don't know why I'm telling you all about this, but it was one of those memorable events that really sticks in my mind. There's so many other things, but I hope that without, before you and I pass on, what Pierre Van Possum said, the days of our years, I know I mentioned Pierre Van Possum because I know you read his book. And as we near the ending of our own lives, and before that, I hope we have another chance, or maybe more than one chance. Maybe by some strange fluke I will be able to get to Washington, D.C. And if I do, I will certainly, not only certainly, but it will be natural for me to hook up with you. People have said here, I do love you in spite of all, But what would it mean by in spite of all? I guess, is a man supposed to love another man as much as I do? Yes!
Yes.
Hi, Hirsch. I'm the one that's sitting in the corner of the room crying. What a surprise. I want to add Bruce and I to the list of folks that transitioned by staying in your home. When we moved, just before we moved to the Adams-Melman house, there you were to offer us home and hospitality. It was really quite a treat for both of us. And we miss you a lot. And I think Karen said it well. You were a good parent to my Jewish friend Karen. But the truth is, when I came to Maine, I had lost both my parents. I left them behind in Florida. And so when I came and met you in Selma, you kind of adopted us too. So what I remember more than anything is just your unconditional love for me and for, I think, all of us. And I will always, always love you for that. Thank you.
I wanted to just follow up on Mary Beth's insight about what a loving man you are, and how much in the time that I've known you and visited with you, I've always felt really welcome, and that you were glad to see me. One of the real dear things that you said to me once, as I was leaving, you said, you called me sweetheart. And it really was, it kind of cut through a lot of the, cautious, polite greetings and farewells. The kind of thing you would have said to your son or your daughter. And I really took it that way, as a welcoming me, as family, as a son, as a younger man than you. And that'll always be dear to me. And I want to read a poem to you by David White, and it's from a book called Everything is Waiting for You. Everything is waiting for you. And the poem is called Everything is Waiting for You. I'm looking around, everybody here, except, well, where's glasses? So, everything is waiting for you. Your great mistake is to act the drama as if you were alone, as if life were a progressive and cunning crime with no witness to the tiny hidden transgressions. To feel abandoned is to deny the intimacy of your surroundings. Surely even you at times have felt the grand array, the swelling presence, and the chorus crowding out your solo voice. You must note the way the soap dish enables you, or the window latch grants you freedom. Alertness is the hidden discipline of familiarity. The stairs are your mentor of things to come. The stairs are your mentor of things to come. The doors have always been there to frighten you and invite you. And the tiny speaker in the phone is your dream ladder to divinity. Put down the weight of your aloneness and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing even as it pours you a drink. The cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness and seen the good in you at last. All the birds and creatures of the world are unutterably themselves. Everything is waiting for you. So that's my gift for you this afternoon, Herschel, and look forward to talking with you soon. Goodbye.
Hey, hi, Hersh. How are you? Oh my God, I just talked with you on the phone. It just is still. It's still painful to drive down McKean Street and look at your house and know you're not there. You guys were just always there the whole time I've lived here. When I think about you, I often find myself thinking about your story about the whole villages in the Philippines where guys who had decided, screw the army, this is enough, had just walked away and gotten themselves together with family in thatch houses in the Philippines and decided to stay there. And seeing as I had done something close to that, that story always resonated with me. I've told it 50 times. I love coming over to visit with you and Selma. It's amazing to me that Selma is gone. She was there one day and bang, she was gone the next. Yeah. Anyway, I love you. I hope to see you. I have intention of getting down to Washington when the springtime comes, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Love you. Bye.
Hersh?
Yeah.
Hey, it's great to be here with all this awesome crew of people that you have influenced with your wisdom and your advice and your humor. All these things I remember because we were birthday buddies, right? Our birthday bashes, the food was really superb. And I guess in my short stay in the Bath community, one of the most vivid memories I have, I was participating as a reader in your reading one of your plays. It was an honor. I really admire what you did with those. And sending you love. It's nice to be here with all your friends. Bye-bye.
It was very well done, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna love this.
Hey.